Texas wind speeds. From Texas Weather Tracker TV, this is a Texas Weather Alert.
All right, folks, this is a live Texas weather alert here. We're now tracking a new severe thunderstorm warning, and this is well down to the south of the Metroplex. And really, as anticipated, we've been kind of watching the storm. It's been kind of at least floating through portions of Johnson County, now pushing over into Ellis County, and it's now gone severe. And really, as anticipated, we've been watching or monitoring for the opportunity of one or two storms to develop along the dry line. And as it happens, we've at least had one develop. And the primary threat, unfortunately, with these, it is going to be very large hail. In fact, the storm really just developing and already has hail up to the size of near golf balls. At least that's what the Weather Service is warning on. So let's go over to radar. We'll get you caught up on this. We're also going to check in with our team of storm trackers. By the way, we've got Michael Bankhead, one of our storm trackers. He's down there on this storm. So I know, Josh, you've got the radar. We're going to look at the storm, and then we're going to switch over and talk to Michael and take a look at his video down there as well. But this is just south of the Metroplex, right? So we've got Tarrant County, we've got Dallas County right at here. And so again, we're talking due to the south. This storm has rapidly, I mean, just within the last 5 minutes that we've been talking about it here in the storm studios, it has rapidly developed. And again, you can even see the curvature structure here. This is a developing supercell, and this will most likely develop a hook. Not that that hook is going to at least pose an immediate tornado threat, but this is a developing mesocyclone. And I can tell you right now, the hail sizes are really over the next 10 to 20 minutes. Even from golf balls where they are now, they're going to dramatically come up. And it's all because of this hook, this mid-level area spin that's now rapidly developing within the storm. But again, just to kind of orient you here, again, this is 35W here, 35E here. There's the Waxahachie area. And the hail core tracker here. We may go and get that loaded up, Josh, if we can, and we'll sample some of this. But this has got a tight, compact hail core. It's right back in the tail end of it, if you will, where that mid-level area spin is. And again, even though the hail core tracker is saying 1 inch would be right around quarters, we did have a report there in the Grandview area already of golf balls. So again, we actually had a report of golf balls again in the Grandview area. But again, you can see this hail core very well pronounced. And again, the general motion here, it's going to be to the east. It's going to be near at least the Waxahachie area. It may stay to the south. We'll track that. But over here towards the Italy area, again, south of the Metroplex. But again, it's not impossible that, again, we do have even additional storms develop. But again, at least right now, this is the first storm of the evening. And you can see the pink and the purple there going to black. And that's as that hail core there does continue to develop as well. And again, you can see the general motion there. We'll do the timeline on it there. And again, right now, at least the immediate path, that's going to be over towards the Italy area, and that's going to be right around 6:52. Again, this evening. We may also quickly, Josh, just hit the velocities just to take a quick look inside of it. And like I mentioned, we are going to at least have a mesocyclone trying to develop here the way it looks. Again, that does not necessarily mean there's going to be any immediate tornado threat at all, but that will be at least one component we're watching. But again, we're more concerned about that mesocyclone as it may go on to even produce even larger hail as well. I want to come back over to, let's come back over to Michael, and I'm going to punch this in just real quick here, Josh, just from my end. And we want to take a look at his live shot because, again, Michael Bankhead, one of our storm trackers, he's right there on it, and he's got a great shot, and there it is. And Michael, I know you're also on the live line with us here as well. Go and tell us exactly where you are, and I know you're on the southern sides of the storm, but go and give us a live report.
Hey, William, I am just off of 35. I'm kind of on a little service road right here, just south of Grandview, southwest side. Once I punched through the hail core, when I drove through it, it was about quarter size. Apparently, it rapidly grew right after I got out of the core, thankfully. Right now, I'm just kind of watching. There does appear to be a little bit of low-level rotation, but it's very gradual at the moment.
And that is one of the things we're going to be watching for. Again, not that there's an imminent tornado threat or even a high tornado threat, but anytime you're dealing with supercell storms, you always keep that number one in the back of your mind. But the other reason why we're really going to watch, at least for the potential for a mid-level area spin and maybe even low-level spin too, it's going to be for the hail sizes. Because again, if we get a sustained mesocyclone, we're going to go from, again, the opportunity of golf ball size hail, potentially even up to tennis balls. And again, that's been the thing we've really been focused on today and kind of even cross crossing our fingers, hoping we wouldn't have any storms, because we knew if we did have a storm or 2 or 3 or 4 storms, that again, the primary threat would be this really large damaging hail. And again, when you're talking about hail potentially up to the size of tennis balls, that can do some real damage. The good news is it's in a fairly rural area right now. And again, the general track, at least the general motion currently, continues to keep it kind of in that general rural area. Again, right now it will be crossing eventually 35E back over towards the Italy area, and also back over towards the Forston area eventually as well. Again, if it does hold together, and again, part of it, some of the heavier rain, at least, not necessarily the hail core, moving there through the Maypearl area as well. But again, Michael Bankhead, he's right there on it, and again, like I mentioned, he's got eyes on that there. Let's go back over to radar, Josh, if we can. And like I said, what we'll do, let's go and zoom out completely if we can, and we'll just kind of take an overview of everything we have going on. So again, we've just got the one storm, and like I mentioned, we've kind of been talking about it really over the last several days, that again, the real potential was 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 storms, or maybe none, but so far we've had one. But again, you can see the dry line. The dry line, it's now stalling just west of the Metroplex. It's that green line right there, and so it's separating warm, moist, unstable air from some very dry, stable air behind it. And so we have the clash of the air masses, the jet stream kicking in above, and again, those are just some of the weather pieces that we're looking at here, and one of the reasons why, again, we've had this one lone supercell storm develop. Outside of that, all the counties shaded in blue, every county in the Metroplex is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 p.m. Again, like I mentioned, most folks, as we go through the evening, will not see any thunderstorm activity, rain, or severe weather, but again, the few that do, again, we could have some fairly potent severe weather with some fairly large hail, and again, that's what we're seeing down here with this right now. So let's go and zoom in on this one more time. And I'm looking at Michael's video. We'll take another look at it coming up here momentarily. And when Michael earlier, as it was crossing 35W, we could even hear in the storm studios in our ear, we could hear the hail. And again, at that time it was quarters. But again, you can see this storm just really continues to morph and take more of those supercell characteristics. So some heavier rain mainly moving currently through the Maypearl area. There's Italy. The way it looks right now, the general hail core, it's going to be tracking down here towards the Italy area. And again, if at least the current path holds, it's mainly going to stay south of the Waxahachie area there. Of course, this will try and cross 35E again here over the next 30-45 minutes or so. This storm, I don't think it's going to move very quickly at all. In fact, I think the general motion here, it's going to be more along the lines of just kind of drifting off to the east and down to the southeast as well. Yeah, let's go and take a look at the hail core tracker, and we'll sample some more of this too. But again, in the Grandview area, we did at least have the report of golf balls. The hail core tracker, again, the computer at least not overly impressive with this. It's mainly showing maybe some 1.5-inch size hail currently, which would technically even be smaller than golf balls. But like I mentioned there, in the Grandview area, we did get the report of golf balls coming in. But again, we'll continue to track that. And again, that hail core tracker, that's going to be something we really focus on as we go through the evening. And again, just for the heck of it, Josh, we'll hit the velocities again too, if you can, just to kind of take another look inside of the storm there as well. We may just kind of zoom in a little bit closer there to the Grandview area. And again, the main reason why we're looking at velocities is we just like to continue to look within the storm and look at, on a day like today, mainly the broad rotation that we're seeing developing. The broad rotation, again, does not pose that tornado threat, but it poses the larger hail threat. So again, that's one of the reasons why we're at least keeping our eyes on, again, just kind of the broad area spin. But again, anytime you're dealing with the supercell, regardless of the environment, in the back of your mind, you're always at least watching for any type of low-level spin to develop as well. But at least right now, not necessarily seeing that. Just looking for anything new coming in. And again, yeah, there was that report there of golf ball size hail in the Grandview area. Since then, we haven't received any new reports, but again, this is obviously in a fairly rural area. But again, we're keeping our eyes on it. Michael, I want to come back over to you. And your video, I think actually it went out of focus. You may have it in autofocus, Michael. I know we've had a couple hiccups on it, but we're looking at the video. I know it's a little fuzzy. We'll get that fixed here momentarily. But Michael's down there on that cell. And so, Michael, you're still on the live line. As you're looking back off to the northwest, kind of back there where that hail core is, give us an update on that. What exactly are you seeing back in that general direction?
Right now I'm repositioning. I went a little bit further down 35 so I could get a higher vantage point, take a look at it. Definitely looks like there's still some low-level rotation that's gradually trying to come together more and more. Kind of watching to see where that hail core goes. Trying to do my best to stay out of it.
Yeah, no,
I should be coming up right now on an exit, and I'm gonna refocus the camera and see what we can.
Yeah. No, if you can refocus it for, I think maybe it's an autofocus, or you may have just tapped it or something. But we're trying to kind of stick with your video there a little bit, but we know it's out of focus. We're going to come back to it. I just quickly want to. We may have just gotten another report here. Some 1-inch hail there, which will be quarters, also in the Grandview area. And again, that is a little more indicative of what we're seeing on radar. I mean, radar is really estimating some quarters, maybe some half dollars. Like I said, there was at least one report of the golf balls, and that may have been honestly just a little bit on the high side so far. There is an opportunity of golf ball size hail and even larger as we go through the evening. But again, what we're seeing on radar, the hail core tracker is normally pretty spot on. And again, right now it's estimating some quarters and half dollars. And again, this new report we just got in is more along the lines of that, and so that would make sense to me. Let's zoom in a little bit tighter there around the Grandview area if we can, Josh. And I want to take a look at those velocities just one more time there on the back side of it. And again, we can definitely see that hail core really coming together back there on the back side of it as well. And let's go and hit the hail core tracker one more time. And we're just going to sample through some of our products here. And as we take a look at this, so here it is. So 1.5, again, that's again anywhere from quarter to right around $half size. That's what the radar is estimating. Like I mentioned, this is pretty well spot on. So again, the golf ball size report may have been just a little bit high that we received, but again, in general, $half I don't think are impossible. If the storm continues to intensify, I think golf balls may even be likely with it. And again, potentially, we have the potential at least for even larger size hail as well. I see that, I see Michael got his video fixed. We're going to click back to that here momentarily too. I want to just quickly zoom out, Josh, if we can. Let's go and take a look at the overview here. And we've got, and it looks like we do have one new cell, looks like also developing just to the north. We'll take a look at that one. So it's that kind of evening, right? So we know that we now at least have one storm, right? We weren't promised any storms, but again, if one storm were to form, or 2 or 3, we have potential for these to quickly go severe with hail threat, and that's what we're seeing. So we've got the one storm that's formed. The dry line has now stalled just west of the Metroplex. The cap, or the warm layer of air above the surface, which has really kept everything in check all day and made it as though we maybe weren't going to see any storms, it's now weakening. The cap is now quickly weakening, and so we've got 2 storms trying to develop. That's not impossible. We now even maybe have 3 or 4 as we go through the evening, additional storms trying to develop. But let's go and take another look down here, then we'll take a look at Michael's video. I'm looking at it coming up again momentarily, but I want to take a look at this new cell that just developed there too, if we can, Josh. And so this is right here on the Johnson-Ellis County line. This is between Venus and Midlothian. Of course, here's Dallas County here, Duncanville, DeSoto. So we want to keep our eye on this. Right now, it's mainly just showery activity we're seeing, not really even picking up in much in the way of lightning. The hail core tracker trying to give us some indications here that maybe there's a hail core trying to develop with it. Let's go back over to reflectivity on this one quickly. And if we do, we may have to go to L3. And the hail core, because we're so close to the radar site right there, I think the hail core tracker on this one is probably wrong, but we are getting a couple strikes of lightning, you see, so this one may be trying to intensify some as well, and we just got something new coming in. That may be a new warning, and it may be for that hail core. Maybe they're possible as well. Josh, do you have something? I think we've got that new warning coming out. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, National Weather Service is saying that a new severe thunderstorm warning is coming for northern Johnson and Ellis County, and I think they just issued it now, so it should be plotting.
Yeah, so that's it. It just came up right there. It's blinking. So even though it does not look very impressive on radar, that hail core is beginning to come up. And then, of course, to the south of that, we've got that bona fide supercell. I want to go back. I know Michael just got his video centered back up. I want to go back over to Michael's video. And yeah, Michael, you're on the live line with us here too. And so you're looking at, I mean, classic supercell. Right now, main threat with it, it's hail. And it's, again, the opportunity, maybe even some golf balls now with this. But as we're just looking at the cloud structure, not really necessarily seeing striations or really even anything in the mid-levels that would indicate much in the way of rotation with this right now, which again would maximize that hail core. But you're looking at it spot on. What are you seeing out there in the field?
Right now, William, I'm still on the southwest side of the storm. I've got a really nice tower. Should be right in field of view right now, and it's just blowing up like a pot of boiling water. Uh, Very nice inflow band coming into it. It's starting to take a little bit of a striation form, like more like the classic supercell structure. But yeah, this storm is really, really intensifying quickly.
Yeah, it looks like it on radar too. If you can hold that shot for as long as possible, we just want to continue to kind of watch that. Hey, John, what the time on the new warning? That was until, let's see, until 7:45. Let's go back over to radar just real quick here, and we'll take another view of what we have. So we've got two storms, and both of these are technically south of the Metroplex, right? But one of them may skirt the Dallas County line, potentially even towards Glen Heights. So Dallas County, Tarrant County, again, we've got two distinct cells. One of them is a bona fide supercell, right? That's the one Michael's on, and Michael's right down in here. He's down there on 35W, looking back off to the north at this one. Again, it's got a little bit of a hook trying to develop. There's a little bit of mid-level rotation trying to develop with it, which may maximize the hail core. Then again, we've got the secondary storm. Right now, not a supercell, but this is a strong, at least a strengthening storm. May also try and take on some supercell structure. This one also pretty electrically charged, lots of lightning on it. And so 650 Midlothian and Pecan Hill 707. And again, that's also going to be tracking very near the Waxahachie area. These storms may split in between Waxahachie, but this one will also be fairly near as well. And again, you can see this new blinking yellow box. Again, that's a new severe thunderstorm warning there until 7:45. Let's go and hit the hail core tracker again, Josh, and we'll just kind of look at both of these, and we're going to keep watching for anything else developing. The hail core on this one is quite a bit bigger. Now, this one is closer to the radar, and so I still think we're getting at least some. I don't think this is quite spot on yet, but I do think there could be some quarters. We're getting some 1-inch at least estimations here, and this one is just so close to the radar site, which is right there. Sometimes we'll get some overestimates, but again, hail quite possible, if not likely, even tracking there towards the Midlothian area. And then this one down here, even though we got the report of golf balls there in the Grandview area, the hail core tracker continues to indicate some quarters and maybe $half are possible, which again is still severe hail, obviously. But again, we've got two distinct hail cores, two distinct hail storms, and again, both of these will be tracking here towards the Interstate 35E corridor fairly quickly. Again, from Red Oak, most of these probably splitting in between the Waxahachie area, and then again, some of this activity tracking down towards the Italy area there as well. Let's see. Yeah, let's go and zoom out one more time, Josh, if we can. And I just want to take an overview one more time of everything we have going on here. And we may also have, it looks like we try to have a cell develop up off to the north, and it kind of bubbled there for a minute, but it didn't really do much, so we're keeping our eyes on that too. Let's do this. Let's go back over to Michael Bankhead. We'll take another look at his video, and we'll see what he's seeing. Again, Michael, you're just south of it. I believe you're still on 35W, right? Looking back off to the northeast into it?
That's correct, William. I'm right here on Service Road in Itasca. Right off 35, looking northeast into the back end of the storm.
Give us another update on, I'm sorry, go and give us another update as you're kind of looking at it just from your vantage point. Just since we've talked to you here, we're not really getting a lot of new information in. Looks like we maybe had in the Venus area, which is going to be on that northern storm, we got some near quarter size hail. We got a report of that. But outside of that, again, these are in pretty rural areas, so we're not getting a lot of reports in. I know you did have some quarters as it crossed 35W earlier, this southern storm, but give us an update what you're seeing on it now.
Right now, I'm just watching the inflow. The towers are still bubbling out. Storm is actually moving really, really slow. It's almost drifting. But it's definitely got, it's more organized. There's definitely a lot more striations to it. Just kind of sitting here watching it and see how much more intensification we can get out of it. I still have yet to actually see any lightning associated with it, though. I think it's more on the northern side of the storm at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like there is a little bit more lightning there on the northern side, but you've got eyes on it. Again, if there's any changes on that, like I said, definitely let us know. Let's go back over to radar, Josh, if we can. And let's see, like I mentioned, we're going to take just another look at something. I was just looking at some new data coming in as well. So here's the deal. Again, as we're heading on into the evening, again, you can see we just have 2 storms. And again, this is really what we were talking about the entire time, right? It was an all or nothing proposition. Either we were going to have no severe storms at all as we went through the evening, or we were going to have 1, 2, 3, or 4. And again, any of those storms that formed would rapidly be severe, right? We had the warm layer of air above the surface, the cap that was going to suppress everything, and the cap may have held and we had no storms, right? But we were just unstable enough and the cap weakened just enough that we so far have been able to get 2 storms to form. And again, both of those storms that formed again did quickly go severe, again primarily with the hail threat. But again, anywhere shaded in this blue area, that is technically a severe thunderstorm watch until 11 p.m. It does include the entire metroplex, and again, storm development not impossible within this area of blue. But again, I think it's still going to be pretty isolated, maybe these 2 storms only, or we may get another storm or 2 again to form. Let's go and zoom into the metroplex, Josh, if we can. And again, as we do that, if you look off to the west, this is what we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching just a couple of those little, right now, sprinkles up there in Denton County. We'll watch to see if anything changes with that. But it's this green line. This is the dry line, right? So we have all the warm, moist, unstable air here. But again, behind it, we've got, humidity values dropping into the 30 to 20% range. Again, and Josh is highlighting it there in red. That's the dry line. So the dry line has now stalled as we have a cold front coming through later this evening. It will eventually move on through the area with the front, but right now it's stalled. It's not going to make any more forward progress. So anything else that we see develop, if there is anything else as we go through the evening, it's going to be essentially along and near that line. And again, you can see that's essentially right over the 35 corridor. So we're tracking all of this carefully. But again, the good news is so far, and really it's not good news, it's kind of bad news. We've had 2 storms develop, but again, the good news is it's only been 2 so far because both of these again are packing a punch again with some help. So we'll go and zoom in. We'll take a closer look here at these. And we'll go up to the northern one first. Because again, just like we've been saying, the intensification, it's just, so fast. We were talking about this one 10 minutes ago as it was just beginning to take off, and you saw it on radar, did not look very impressive. And now it's a completely different story. Midlothian all the way back down through the Venus area. Again, the Venus area had some dimes, some nickel size hail reported, but again, that was about 10 minutes ago. I'd be interested to see what kind of reports they have now. And again, you can see some of this tries to extend all the way back down there towards the Alvarado area. Let's go and hit the hail core tracker on this again. And the hail core on this one is looking even more impressive. When you start to see the darker reds, and we'll sample this, there could definitely be now at least some $half, maybe even going to 2-inch size hail, not impossible. So some golf ball size hail with this cell very near the Venus area, not impossible. And then even back up there towards the Midlothian area, again, not impossible to maybe have some $half again up in this area as well. Just let's go and hit the velocities too, if we can, Josh. And we just want to always kind of take a look inside these storms, make sure nothing sticks out, but at least right now at the lower levels, nothing sticking out on this one at all. Let's stick with velocities, and we're going to move down to the secondary storm. And again, this is the one that Michael Bankhead is on. So as we're sticking with velocities, just the raw wind data here, again, nothing sticks out on this at all, right? Anytime you're dealing with rapidly intensifying storms, you're dealing with supercell storms, you're dealing with high instability, the one thing you always keep in the back of your mind is the potential for anything more than hail or wind, right? And so you're always looking at this raw velocity data to make sure there's nothing crazy or sticking out. And right now there is nothing. And again, the overall threat of tornadoes as we go through the evening, just to be clear, it is very low. And it's not zero, it's not impossible, right? So let's go back over to reflectivity. We'll kind of take a look at the normal radar mode here. And again, as we do that, there it is. You can see really just south of the Maypearl area. So Waxahachie, there is some heavier rain moving in now. It looked like almost Waxahachie was going to kind of get split by both of these cells, but that's not the case. Some heavier rain moving in there. But again, you can also see just this classic supercell shape. You see the tail and the back end of it there. And again, obviously, I don't have to tell you the bright pinks, the black showing up. That is the hail core. Now, this one, the hail core, even though we did get a report of golf balls over here around the Grandview area, we got a later report of some quarters with this one. This is the one Michael's on. We'll look at his video again momentarily, but let's look at the hail core tracker with this one more time, Josh, if we can. And again, we'll take a look at the inside. We'll sample that. The hail core, even though on radar that cell looks to be the more impressive cell, the overall hail sizes, the estimates, have not been as impressive, right? So you're still seeing 1.5. Now that still will do some damage, right? So that's half dollar size hail. But again, in the grand scheme of things and the overall threat level of the evening, that's still on the smaller side. So again, that's good. But again, that hail core, just as we've gone through the evening, just has not really looked overly impressive. So we're going to continue to watch that one, and again, watch for any changes with that one as well. But we're also going to check back in with Michael. Michael, you're still on the live line with us here. And I was just looking at your video, and I was just checking it because it doesn't really look like it's changed a whole lot. I mean, you're still looking at the cell, and like I said, I just wanted to make sure it was still coming in because it really